Just because I thought my channel wasn't odd enough, I brought some help. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and I am not alone, as you can tell. I've got Mr. Odd One Gaming, or I guess, Mr. Susie Plays, that it's, he's a wonderful content creator, been in Raid for a while, doing some other stuff as well, married to Ivy, who's now Susie, and, great cornerstone of the Raid community for a long time. How have you been, my friend?
First of all, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. It's like I've been gone for a while, but I appreciate the kind words. I've been good. I've been busy, testing out other realms, testing out other stuff. Came back to Raid, but things have been good, and the future's looking even better. Hopefully. How have you been?
Oh, pretty good. It's definitely been an interesting adventure. I mean, I kind of got delving into some of this stuff right around when you were diving out, so I've certainly grown my channel quite a bit since then. But you and I have known each other from Twitch for a long time as well too. So we've chatted for a while. I've known Susie for a while as well. In fact, fun fact, Susie's the first content creator to ever actually pull my shards on stream, which was a lot of fun. She got me a Ghostborn, which was kind of cool. I think it was my second legendary from shards too, so it was actually it's really, really early on. But we're one of the things Odd One has been up to is he has been chasing world records lately, which has kind of brought him back to Raid. But that kind of brings us to the point here. I want to talk a little bit, something I've been talking about on my free-to-play account is constantly pushing yourself. And obviously, we're talking about fairly extreme pushes. We're not recommending you guys go out and try to break world records, unless that's what you want to do. I mean, we're not telling you not to either. But there's plenty of things you can do to challenge your account, because it's very easy to get complacent. So first of all, let's talk about some of the world record stuff though, because you've got two of them now, or you're tied for one and you own one of them, correct?
Yeah, that's true. It's like, again, before people would start and go for the throat in the comments, as far as I'm aware from the info that I have, it was one of the world records was me doing Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, 4-key Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss in 35 days by using only free to obtain legendaries. Pretty much the story of that was I was covering King Arthur, right? So I quit Raid in December. I got to the point, like you said, it was complacent, views weren't quite there either, and obviously being a full-time job, I have to think of the financial side of things as well sometimes. So I just quit, played some King Arthur, but then King Arthur didn't go to the potential it had, and I said, let me try Raid. And I saw an ad. That's how my idea came. I saw an ad on Facebook with Desert Queen. I'm like, damn, they're actually giving a Void Legendary as a promo code, and it's to Hanorak, right? It's like, if we think end game, she's not the best, right? There are plenty of other better stuff, but overall, she's actually amazing. And I looked at her kit and I saw, damn, increased speed, increased defense. That's interesting. She can bring lots of stuff for Ultra Nightmare, right? 2-to-1 ratio teams, cleansing of debuffs over there, decreased attack, block buffs, more healing, decreased speed. I'm like, you know what? That sounds interesting. And then I remembered, there was also some links that can give you Deacon and stuff. And I said, you know what, let me try and see if I can get to Ultra Nightmare. So I pretty much started using some of those links, with obviously Deacon bringing that amazing 3rd meter, decreased defense. Leech, it's like, that's kind of like the perfect combination, right? Deacon with the Leech, 3rd meter, decreased defense and speed lead, and then to Hanorak with the increased defense and increased speed, kind of allowed you to build that killable team without requiring lifesteal, so it kind of made it a bit easier. So I just kind of looked around, and then I found the perfect link, right? With Verges, I was part of the same link as an ally protector. I said, okay, this sounds like something can be done, right? Because Verges is really cool with that. It's like, Verges is one of the most basic, so to speak, ally protectors, but at the same time, he's one of the best. It's like you just need one book there and you're good. Right? So I kind of started it, and then as I was like 1 or 2 weeks in, I reached out to, I went into Deadwood Jedi's Discord, right? That's like, if we ever need something clan boss related, that's where you go. Went there, I posted in the chat, I'm like, hey guys, I'm trying this, I'm trying to build an Ultra Nightmare team, and it wasn't necessarily only for the bragging rights. It was a bit for the bragging rights, because you know how it is. But at the same time, I felt like, because everybody has access to these champions, it's kind of like, you know what, this could be fun for the community. Build that speed tune, and if it works, it's like I can share with everybody. So anybody else coming back to Raid that doesn't have an account or wants to start fresh, anybody else trying to start a fresh account, they want to get to Ultra Nightmare, if I can do it, that would be fun. And I actually did it, right? Shout out to Short Town Skills, they gave me the speed tune. I just tweaked it a little bit, and bang, 35 days in, just pretty much got 4-key Ultra Nightmare with the most basic gear possible, honestly. And that was shocking to me, and that was pretty fun, right? So that was the first one.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's one of the interesting things because I bought a Clan Boss team for the Hell Hades challenge. So that's the account I'm on here, my Hell Hades free-to-play account. And it was just really kind of interesting. I did a video on some of the Clan Boss basics recently, and it did better than I expected it to because I kind of figured Clan Boss is dead content for a lot of people, but there's a lot of new players that don't understand Clan Boss. And I think
Yeah.
one of the things that happened with Deadwood Jedi putting the calculator out was everyone just kind of assumed, oh, well, I need an unkillable team to beat Ultra Nightmare. And
Yeah.
I don't have an unkillable team right now. In fact, I made the first change to my Clan Boss team recently when I got Brogni, and I finally got him to a point where I can actually drop him in here. And, this is 32 million with Brogni. This is about 6 million more damage that I was doing with Tagore in this team. But it's an
Yeah.
untuned double ally attack team or ally protection team with Taragi
Mhm.
and Tyrant and Geomancer, who honestly, let's get real. Geomancer is the hard carry in this team, but
Yeah.
none of these are, Taragi and Geo are your classic Clan Boss characters, and obviously Brogni is a classic Clan Boss character at this point. But Ugo is
Mhm.
certainly not a Clan Boss champion traditionally. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
you've got 3 traditional Clan Boss champions in your wonderful tune right there, which I thought was pretty good. Vergis is definitely a little
Yeah.
hard to tune because he puts that increased speed on everybody, but I guess if you had 2
Mhm.
Hanorok doing it too, it's not as bad.
Yeah, the
And
thing
yeah,
was
it's good.
with having Burgess in there was a bit complicated because it didn't make it as easy. I could not tweak too many things around because of that Burgess increased speed, but I could manage like to delay a bit where the skill happened. So that team is not ideal. It is I'm not 100% sure it's affinity friendly completely because it depends on how the early stuns go. But
Mhm.
again, the reality was with only free to obtain champs. That was the thing that I found so cool about it. It's like there was no pulled champion. I mean,
Mhm.
there was one, but it was not mandatory, right? It was Hellborn Sprite as the buff
Oh yeah.
extender, which is not needed. You can get the Valor in there. Because I didn't even have Hellborn Sprite with accuracy, because I could not get the build.
Mhm.
And that's why I liked it, right? It was all 5 of them, everybody could obtain for free, and that's just, it blew my mind. It blew my mind that something like that can be, something like that can be done in 35 days. It's such a different experience compared to like when we started playing back in the day. When you're like, you had the Battle Khazars, Frozen Banshees, like, damn, I'm doing 10 million a Nightmare after 4 months. That's good enough.
Mhm.
And then now, boom, 4Q to Nightmare. Obviously, depends how long that 200 code's gonna be around, but it's still fun. While it's there, it's definitely still fun, and hopefully it helps people. That's what I hoped, right? To have fun with it, and at the same time, if people actually care about it and want it, I hope that it helps them.
Yeah, and it's just kind of amusing to see that sort of stuff, and the importance of things like cleansing, the importance of things of healing, the importance of things like decreased defense that I think a lot of people kind of forget about because once you have an unkillable team that blocks buffs, you don't care because you could just kind of
Yeah.
ignore a lot of that stuff. But until you can tune it's difficult. And I mean, sure, mine's untuned, so mine definitely has a lot
Mhm.
more RNG involved with it. And in fact, I know it's also not ideal because my best build for my Tyrant just happens to be in Relentless gear, which is 100%
Mhm.
not ideal because that is just not what you want on a Clan Boss team that relies on buffs. But at least because he's
Yeah.
one of the ally protectors, it's not as bad because it means he gets his ally protection out a little bit more. And he being super
Mhm.
tanky means it's not as bad as it could be anyway because he's also healing himself with that A1. But,
Yeah.
it works fairly well. And yes, the number of people that were very surprised that you could get any type of Clan Boss team that wasn't unkillable actually really surprised me. And I think that's kind of a fun way to push your account, especially early on, because people say that Clan Boss is the best rewards in the game. It's kind of
Yeah.
true. Clan Boss is the best rewards in the game once you get to Nightmare, because once you can get that top
Yes.
Nightmare chest, that's where you can start getting the Sacred and where you're likely to get a book or a shard in some reasonable capacity. Before then, they're okay, and yes, it's still the best place to get shards, but
Mhm.
honestly, a normal chest kind of sucks. It's not that great.
Yeah. But the cool thing is actually with everything that has been added into the game over the years, with Gear Ascension, with blessings, with relics now more recently, it's become so much easier to get to the Nightmare point without trying to build a speed tune team.
Mhm.
That it's definitely, from my point of view, now that's number one push. The cool thing about that Ultra Nightmare challenge, I was not farming any other dungeon. Spider was on 10, Dragon was on stage 16, Golem was on 13, Fire Knight was on 13. Like, I did not push the other, I pushed nothing. I cared about nothing else. My mindset was like farming Dragon, farming, getting my champs that I needed to 5-star, and farming their masteries. That was my only goal. And doing that in 35 days, in a month, was a huge push to get to Ultra Nightmare. And then we have the other side of the other account that I did my Arbiter push, from like we can transition to that. That one I did with, again, unspeedtune team. Again, I just free to obtain champs. Deacon, Vergis, Armiger, Tholin, and Tagwar. They did like 23, 25 million damage on Nightmare. So that's a 2-key Nightmare. It's easy to do without speed tuning, just throwing whatever random gear I had on them, just letting them, letting them go ahead. And it's pretty good, right? For now, up until I can try and speed tune it, that's pretty good. And it was so good, actually, that the first day that I did it, and 3 days after, I got a Sacred. 4 days in a row, I got a Sacred. Sacred. So I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Nice.
So that's kind of reality. When it comes to clan boss, like, yes, it's definitely become, the Demon Lord has become a forgotten realm, because everybody has, like you mentioned, unkillables. Or then there's Wixwell. They're just pretty much Wixwell, couple extenders, anything else, you got it. But it's still, this was one of the fun areas of the game that I always enjoyed. And it's kind of sad that, there's not something better. I was hoping, when they were discussing more about it, I was hoping they would bring another difficulty, the next one up for it, and so that we don't, that would have something like ignores unkillable and close block damage from the beginning. So something to have to push people towards trying to do those killable comps again. I feel like that would have reignited the Ultra Nightmare love.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to do it because they're really bad at going back, but...
Well, that too. And I think the other problem with that is because the Wixwell teams exist, it becomes do you have Wixwell? If not, that's the only way to really easily solve clan boss. It's not the only way, obviously, because again, we look at the ally protection, whatever else. But if it becomes back to a one champion solution, which to be fair, they've done a good job of making Ultra Nightmare accessible. You used to have just the Maneater cops for a while, and then you had people that developed ones with like Maneater and Warcaster. And then finally people came out with stuff with Tower, but then they added Helicath, and then they added Demitha, and those kind of expanded the number of unkillable teams you could run, making an unkillable team actually something that you could reasonably access, actually, which is kind of cool. Because there's enough champions that do the stuff you need to do, you're not limited to one style of unkillable. And then Brogni was certainly available for the high-end players as a shield growing champion, but those teams were pretty gross, and they were very much are we going to kill the clan boss first? That was the Mullet Reaver and the Victor Tez race that we had for a while, which was kind of fun. And then Wixwell showed up and basically said, yeah, I can do that better, and you can use like 3 rare champions in it. So
I remember making a video back in the day when Wixel came out. It was like him and only rares. Him, rares, and I think it was Haikatun. No speed tune, no nothing. I'm not sure if that's good or bad for the game. What do you think? From my point of view, I don't think it was good that Wixel was that good for Ultra Nightmare.
I mean, it's kind of yes and no. I mean, I like the fact that it's accessible, and I like the fact that because it's old content, if this was like Clan Boss just came out and then there's this champion that makes it that easy, I certainly would have a problem with it. But, Clan Boss has been out since before I started playing, obviously. So we're talking 5 years at least on Clan Boss. It's one of the first things they added to the game, I think. I don't remember if it was Start there, but I think they added it pretty quickly. But yeah, let's talk about the other one too, because you also did the Arbiter chase, and not on the same account. We should definitely make that clear. That would have been rough.
That would have been impossible, honestly. Like, doesn't matter how well I managed to grind and do it. It doesn't matter how smart you are. I think that would have been impossible to do both of them. But yeah, the other one was a attempt to beat the world record of getting Arbiter free to play as soon as possible. I didn't manage to do it, though, right? I didn't manage to beat it, but I managed to match it. So from my point of view, that's a win. And the reason, again, not trying to make it as an excuse, but I think the reason why I didn't quite do it, or something that would have helped me a little bit more, would have been if I would have had a different promo code, right? Because the world record was is held by Vulcan, did 27 days with Supreme Gaelic, right? He used Supreme 6, that's what he did. So trying to beat that, but Supreme 6 was not available anymore. So because of that, I said, you know what? Again, trying to do it because I failed to do exactly how I wanted. I said, let me try and look at it from what would be helpful for the community again. So I said, let me go with Tholin. He's the newest code. He's the most accessible. Should be around at least for a year or two, because like we see Wukong, we see Alice. They've been a year, 2 years still there. So I said, let me try and do it with Tholin. And I did it with Tholen, but I only matched it. So I did get it, but I got exactly 27 days. And honestly, I was a bit disappointed because I really wanted to beat it. Just some blockers were really tough, right? Like the arena, especially, it's still. I mentioned in some of my videos, I think the collab with Hell Hades, but I think arena needs like the Great Hall stuff in the arena and the progress missions with how much more stuff there is to do in the game, with how much more stuff happens after the Arbiter mission, right? With the Romantu, with the Marius. I think some of these things should be tweaked and made a bit easier. Like I cannot imagine somebody starting playing right now is gonna have the patience to get that Great Hall done because it takes you like 2-3 years. It's like that blows my mind, and that was kind of like the same thing with arena. Win 200 arena battles, like come on.
Yeah, that
And
that
then you need
one.
me to be gold 5 when arena is impossible from gold 1 for an early account. You know?
Yeah, and I saw you do the video on that, the breakdown, and you were talking about like I need to use every single gem I possibly have to do refreshes and hope I can win at least 2 battles every 15 minutes in order to beat the record.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is just not going to happen, and it's going to be extremely unpleasant while you're trying to do it. And then on top of that, if you decide to do it and you fail, you might have burned so many gems, you might have been not able to complete everything else either, which would have been a horrible situation too. I know when I was doing the Hell Hades, I had the opportunity to push my Great Hall up further and decided to actually hold off for it and basically did the 200 battle win and then the last one for 10 right afterwards, saying that, you know what, I can fill my Great Hall up, and this is what I did with my Great Hall and what I'm still doing with the Great Hall. I'm getting close to the one where I need 3 of them at 10, but this helps my account a hell of a lot more. And so I'm taking my time with some of this stuff. There's no rush on Romantu. I'm going to hit walls where they are anyway. And that's obviously, as the Hell Hades, I was in a competition for 90 days for progress with it. So it made sense to me to pace my Arbiter to not kill the account. Whereas you were like, I think you sacrificed a legendary as a chicken at some point too. Yeah.
3.
Three.
Three
Ooh.
legendaries. So that was the one. That was one of the like towards the last week. I was stuck on the Ascend the Void champion to 6-star, and I just did not have the gems. I was down to 200 gems. I had no energy anywhere, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna do it, I usually it hurt me a bit because I'm not that good at doing world records because I have a problem with I always want to be efficient, right? I cannot have the mindset, oh, screw this guy, he's a chicken, don't care, he's a legendary, I have a goal. No, I always try to be efficient. I always try to like, okay, save this. I had like 20, 30 people save for faction wars, rares, epics. I was pushing everything. I was trying to do a balanced progress overall. But then when I got to that point and I saw there was like 1 week away and I had the 200 arena battle and that still blocked me, I said, you know what? I'm doing a world record. Let me switch my mentality. 3 Legos gotta go. As soon as I got MNC, Chicken, Sibel Chicken, Eleanor Chicken, all of them got my Madame to 6-star, ascended her, and then I could push everything else. And I still got stuck on the arena one. But sacrifice have to be done, right? When you do specific challenge like that, you gotta do them.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I don't know if you guys follow the Hell Hades free-to-play challenge at all or not, but I came in second on that one to Bone, who is a German content creator. And when when we were doing the final video on all the accounts, and he pulled up Bone's account, Bone had like 35 champions on his account because he had sacrificed. He would literally push himself as far as he could in a specific faction, say, all right, I'm done with as many points as I'm going to do with that faction, and feed everybody he could into another champion to build another faction up or build a champion up that was important enough to keep on the account. And as a result, the account was not great when he was done with it. I mean, yes, he could do some cool stuff. He had a clan boss team, he had other stuff, but it wasn't like the account had stuff to build on. Whereas I had come in second, and this is not me saying that, he did something horrible. He played the game and won very well, and it was a great play. I, on the other hand, have been playing this account since then for a while. We talked about it a little bit. I still haven't been able to figure out whether or not getting Quintus on day 150 is a record or not. I actually asked on one of the servers, and somebody said somebody did it on day 57, and I'm like, no.
Free to play? I don't think so. I don't think they could do it free to play.
He then later showed proof, and the proof he showed was a Skeletor account, and the Skeletor account couldn't have done it because you literally couldn't have done it until the patch that happened, I think, in like February or March, because they changed how the scoring works, so you almost can't go down anymore. So
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I don't know. And maybe it's not. Maybe it is. It's kind of cool if it
I
is. And
call
if
it.
it's
It
not,
is. It
you know.
is. It is. You got a world record. Own it, man. You own it. You deserve it. Like same way that I'm owning, saying that I have the world record for getting arbiter. Yes, I do. Hand in hand with Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
Vulcan has the world record, but I have it because I have it with Tolin. He has it with Supreme Gaelic, which is not relevant anymore, right?
Hmm.
So you got it as well. You got Quaintus free to play. Must
Yeah, and
emphasize because I'm
it's
sure
just kind
somebody
of
can do it
fun
30
doing
days.
some of these things. I mean, like last night, I had this wonderful fight where somebody brought in 3 commons and a
Aw.
rare. I'm pretty sure this was I got to do the daily one. I'm just going to give somebody else a free win, and I don't want to back out of it
Mhm.
type stuff. But still, it was,
That's those daily ones. They suck. Some of those. I mean, I had one of these days. It blew my mind, and like I'm shocked. It kind of reminded me why I quit in the first place. I had that mission that says use 6 iron, as part of the advanced. It blocks you from getting a full refill, which is important. That's free to play. I had one that said exactly that one.
yeah,
That's the one I had. Use 6 fortune keys. I'm like, you know what? I'm not pushing Iron Twins. Let me refresh. It's gonna give me something easier. You know what they gave me?
the live arena.
Beat stage 15 or higher on
Oh,
Shogun 5 times. I'm like, I'm
yeah.
24 days in. What the? I'm not sure you can swear on your channel, but what are you talking about? Like, dude, like
Yeah.
how 24 days in, how am I supposed to do that? And you're forcing me to do that because if I don't do it, I lose a refill. It's oh my god, like some of these things, like see, this is the thing, because so many people sometimes write in my comments and say, oh, you always say this about Plarium, oh, you're so toxic, you're so negative. The reality is like this. I loved the game, right? I loved the game. He created me, consecrated me, made me a content creator, meet my wife, have my bug. It pretty much got me to the point where I am right now, and I love my life. I'm living the dream, and it's frustrating to know that it could be so much better, and that's why I have so much more hate. Is because my love from the game turned into hate. The game could be so much better. Everything could be so much more fun. They just don't want to do it. So that's why, that's why I usually get like that. I'm like, ugh.
No, I agree with that one is just not a good option. I know I submitted a support ticket for that one just to feedback on that one because yeah, on this account, I think I can do stage 15 on both of those, but I'm not sure. The good news is
Yeah.
I can do the fortress keys, so that's not been a problem. And I do live arena most days, so getting 3 live arena wins hasn't really been a problem. But because I forget to check, there's always the disadvantage of I could get stuck in a case where I've used all my fortress keys and I've done my live arena and I refresh it and I get the 15 whatever one. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me at all. That one, I really think they need to redo that one. And honestly, I don't know why it has to be stage 15 or higher because that's the only one that requires it to be a specific stage. The fortress one, I can do 6 fortress keys on the first floor and be done with it.
Yeah,
Not a great
same,
use
but
of
I
energy.
did not think that it's gonna swap me something worse. Like I
Oh
did
yeah.
not know that. Before I quit, that was not a thing. The
Mhm.
fortress keys, the shoguns, it was not a thing. I was shocked that that was added, right? And
Yeah.
it was like caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, well, I guess no refill for today. It's
Mhm.
bad enough that you get the beat a faction or boss sometimes and you have nothing in that faction. But now you have another way so you can lose on that refill. It's like like just don't get me started, Don't get me started. It's like I swear they just don't want to do good stuff. Unfortunately, it's like that's what I keep telling people. Like, yeah, people. That's why I don't understand when people start defending them because it's like the game's good. Like, don't get me wrong. I never said the game's bad. The game's amazing. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Problem is the way that they run it and the way they do things. They focus too much on like holding us so long in the game. That's their number one goal, and then get as much money as possible. I don't think there's ever like if somebody watches and can give me a proper example, let me know in the comments below of this video.
Mhm.
Tell me one thing they actually did for the good of the community, because there's nothing I can name, because everything that sounds like it might be for the good of the community is just because people might quit and they lose money from that. So it's like there's never anything they've done it, and that's why it gets to the point where like you're
Yeah.
oh come on,
I mean,
why?
to be fair, at some level of at the good of the community or they might quit if they don't happen, those can be one and the same at some point in time. So it's,
Yeah.
it's not, you can't, it's so easy to be negative on absolutely everything as well. And I'm not saying you are, it's just, it is too easy to attribute something that could have been positive and could have been negative and say, oh, I know Polarium, that has to be negative. That's not always the case either. But yeah, they are a company. They are certainly looking to make money. They certainly make decisions on things based on money in many cases more than what makes sense. The other thing that's kind of interesting, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos on the talk with the devs and the content creators or not.
I had a video on that.
Yeah. Papa Drock did a video on it that I think is worth watching, and I'll see if I can remember to link to it. But he did one, and he's been a vocal negative presence, and I say that as, you know, somebody who's been critical of the game in a constructive way of calling them out for stuff. And if you're upset with them and angry at certain things, but you're not just saying Polarium is crap. You're saying this is what they are doing that is wrong and what you'd like them to do to fix it. You're being constructive about it. And that's great. I like constructive criticism. I think that's a positive way forward. And if you're going to leave, be positive about why you're leaving as far as the positive conflict with it. And sometimes, you know what? You just get done with the game. There's nothing wrong with being done with the game as well. It happens. But Drock actually made a comment that I thought was interesting. One of the things he said is the developers are apparently almost afraid of making changes because they are afraid of negative reactions combined with just worried about making drastic changes that might drive people away. And as a result, some of these things that are clearly positive, they're unwilling to do because they're afraid of some of the backlash that might happen as a result of it as well. And it seems very weird, but it gave me an interesting and different perspective of why they don't do some of the things that they do. It's not just that Polarium has said this is all about money. And that doesn't mean that they still shouldn't do some of this stuff, but I thought it was kind of an interesting take by somebody that has generally been, Polarium is a greedy company and they tend to make decisions based off of greed. Mm-hmm. And he'd actually changed his tune after talking to the developers a little bit about it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's like, I'm quite sure that's the reality with this thing. The way that I always categorize this and they always said it is whenever I judge and talk about things about the game, it's like I always put Raid and Plarium as two different entities, right? Raid is the developers, the game itself, amazing stuff, concepts, whatever. Plarium is the one that does the implementation. And that's what the problem is. Like, you got to the perfect spot because that was something I was going to mention. Like, this was the thing that, I've been negative, high and low, but when I did a reaction to the quality of life that they did, and I read the line about Minotaur, I completely lost it. Like, I don't think I've ever, gone so crazy as that one. It's like, that just, I don't know how could be explained. Why would they use the wording of, we'll do super raids for Minotaur to see if you like it? It's like, it has zero logic from my point of view, because the reality is people that actually do Minnow for farming their masteries, I want that. Like, I could not think of. Can you think of a reason why people would not want super raids for Minotaur?
Oh no, it's silly. The only thing about super raids that people would be annoyed about is there's a good chance with a super raid that you might make an extra run that you didn't need to make. And you know what? I will trade cutting my Minotaur time in half for losing 14 energy on a run. There's some level of being efficient, and there's some level of I have better things to do sometimes, and it's silly. And that actually goes into one of the other things that I think Drock mentioned that I thought was kind of funny. I know when you started the two accounts, did you get the 7 million silver or did you get free gear removal?
I got the 7 million silver. Actually, when I started the Ultra Nightmare one, there was free gear removal, but that was part of the Cintranos reset time. And then, the free silver I got from, both my accounts, also the Apprentice Pass. So there is a few things that, they are trying to improve. It's
apparently on this one as well, the devs, in order to figure out which one was more engaging to players, they gave the 7 million silver out to some players, basically doing a blind test, and other players got 1 week of free gear removal the first week of the game. And while I think that's an interesting test for engagement, the problem is what you'd be better off doing would be doing an engagement test with players that are actually currently in the game and saying, all right, half the players are going to get, 10 million silver and half the players are going to get 1 week of free gear removal, and then see what it is. Because early on, you're just rolling up gear because you don't have the gear to swap. And the gear cost to swap at, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star gear is honestly not a big deal that early on. Once you get to the 4-star and the 5-star gear, and honestly the 6-star gear is pretty expensive, that's when that gear swapping becomes a problem. And you don't see it early because for the most part, you're just throwing random gear on champions, and oftentimes you're destroying it rather than, taking it off because, you don't need it anymore because it's bad. And I just,
Yeah,
it's, sometimes they're not learning the right lessons because they're not testing for the right things. And it's
that's the thing.
unfortunate.
I think Matt Capper had a perfect video on this explaining, just doing a full breakdown of the talk with the devs where he explained everything. And he did say the way that they're testing the stuff right is completely wrong. It's like they're not making a complex test around different things, scaling different levels. They just go the testing of like, do you like it or not? It's like, that's it. It's the simple, most basic. Like, that's not the way to do it. And speaking of the silver costing gear removal, there's these are two things that again, because the game's so developed, 6 years plus already, it has so many. I think it's 70, 80 gear sets right now. It's insane.
Oh yeah.
And so much content to farm. There's two things that blows my mind that they've not discussed about change. But again, I guess the reality is, like you said, maybe with what Drog mentioned about they're afraid to doing change. But two things should happen in this game, from my point of view, to help one of their main things as they care about the company, and that's get the gear removal to be permanent. It's like, yeah, the 1 hour thing, people say like, oh no, that's crazy, what do you think, why do you say that's bad? I'm not saying that's bad. That's one of the best things they've ever done. I'm saying what they should have done is not half-ass release something, same as like with the background farming, which is useless. Just do the whole thing. And the second one was the energy cost. You should not lose energy when you lose a fight, because think about like this, because I'm quite sure you're aware, the two things that are the most important for Raid and Plarium is, number one, money spent. Obviously it's a business, they want to make money. But two, their main key performance indicator, the main KPIs, which is time spent in game. That's what they show to their investors, right? So the fact that you don't have the free gear removal permanent and you lose energy whenever you lose a fight, from my point of view, that goes against your main KPI. Because if you can constantly remove your swap your gear, if you could constantly test new stages, right? Because if you test something higher and you lose, goodbye energy. But if you keep testing it, you're gonna win on the KPI. And I guarantee they don't make that much money from energy packs, and they would make more from the point of that part of just let people play the damn game. Remove those two things because the game's there. Like, you have so much more other things that you want to do. Just make me not lose that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just give me something.
People are more likely to spend time in a game fighting and troubleshooting a dungeon if they don't have to spend energy for it. Specifically, your free-to-play players, where yes, you kind of want to tempt them to spend money. So I get that's kind of where the energy cost comes from, sorta. But what happens with the free-to-play players that can't beat something and need to keep on trying to beat it is they get frustrated and just don't do it. And therefore they become less engaged in something. Or they're like, I can't beat this boss and it costs me energy to try, so I don't push myself, which I guess goes back to the theme of what we were kind of trying to talk about with this type of thing as well, is it helps to push yourself in games. And that's one of the things that I guess Raid does punish you for a little bit, is you need to swap gear. It's kind of expensive. In fact, I beat Doom Tower just before the rotation ended. I beat the hard Doom Tower for the first time on this account. Frostbiter. Nice. And I almost didn't do it because my Geomancer didn't have enough accuracy. And then I thought about it and said, wait, I've got a free gear removal thing in here, and all I need is about another 100 accuracy. So I just put an accuracy chest on him for the chest I had previously, ran the fight. It was enough accuracy with an accuracy lead to do it. And I managed to win the fight, which was great. And then I put the chest back, and it didn't actually cost me any silver. And that win, it would have cost me 200 silver, so I probably would have done it anyway without that regear. But without that regear, or with that regear, it became this is a no-brainer. I can actually regear my thing, save this gear up, swap some gear around, roll some gear up, and I'm not going to get penalized for doing it, and I'm going to get a cool reward out of it. And that's the type of play that I think that the game, deserves. And I think that that's the type of thing that is fun in Raid. But again, it doesn't have to be Doom Tower. It can be anything. It's nice to push your account, push yourself to do more damage in Clan Boss, push yourself to do more damage in Hydra. It's kind of fun to push down faster teams in the dungeons sometimes, or just pushing higher in the dungeons, for example. I know I've been very complacent for a while. In fact, I was, part of my push here is I got Mithrala, about a month ago, and I was on like Dragon 6, and I said, you know what, Mithrala should give me Dragon 10, and then I pulled a Venom Mage as well. So it's like, hey, nice. Maybe I can make a Dragon 10 team. So here you go. Dragon 10 team with fairly accessible entry-level champs. I mean, ILS was free at one point. Tagore was free with the code, free. And yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't need the 6-star blessing here, obviously. That was just kind of the gravy that I happened to pull. I got lucky on that one, obviously. But, nice to make a team. And it gave me a chance to say, hey, if you can't do this team, here's some other options as well. And it's kind of nice. And it was kind of why I wanted to bring you on, partially because I always wanted to do a collab with you anyway, because, you're a cool dude. And,
we're the same.
So obviously you're not, I know you've told me before, you're not going to be doing much more with Raid at the moment. Doesn't mean you won't cover it occasionally, but you're probably not going to be playing Raid consistently for a while, it sounds like. What are you up to?
So the reality is, after I've done these 2 challenges, obviously ever since December, since I quit, my number 1 goal and my number 1 priority is going to always be Godforge. Right, so as soon as Godforge comes out, like on the 23rd of July, they when they have their first wave of alpha, I'm gonna start from that day. I'm gonna start going all in on Godforge. Even during the periods when the game's down for 10 days for them to bug fix stuff, I'm still gonna pre-record content so I can have stuff on the channel. So my goal is to go fully all in on Godforge. Now that doesn't mean I'm never, like, same thing as I said in December. I never said I'm never coming back, because you never know, right? But my main priority is going to be Raid. Like, that's it. Raid, sorry, Godforge. I'm done with Raid. I'm just going to record. I just posted, like, my Fire Night team today. And then I just have the 3 other dungeon teams because people asked. I'm just going to make them. They get shit views, but people asked. I'm going to do it. But after that, just straight up Godforge. And actually, I'm trying out this week Dragonair on my other channel. Because it looks amazing. Like, that was my favorite game, right? I loved Raid and stuff, but Dragonair was my favorite gacha out of everything that I played. They did some stupid, massive stuff, and they had some issues with the whole political stuff with swapping, removing from US, and they're coming back. They're relaunching. So Thursday, I'm excited for that. So it's like lots of excitement happening. Now I'm pretty much playing no game right now. So I quit Watcher, I quit this, everything. I'm playing, Thursday I'm going to be going crazy on Dragonair to run it, and then the next Wednesday is going to be Godforge. So that's going to be the future of my channels. Godforge on the main one, on the Raid one, and then Dragonair on the other one, and see how much I can do. That's what I'm going to get you on the Godforge one once we get into like the beta or actual launch, because I don't know much about Godforge on purpose. I didn't look into it, but once I get more info, I'll definitely grab you on the channel to talk some Godforge with you.
Yeah, that'll be kind of fun. And for those of you not aware, I started a Godforge channel actually yesterday and put my first video up on that. I've got a bunch of things to dive into, and it's not going to be a lot of videos until the actual alpha arrives, but if you want to go follow that ahead of time, go check that out as well. I'll leave links to his channel as well. And it's good to certainly talk with you. This has been absolutely amazing. And, again, challenge yourself in these type of games. And this is the thing. I think that the challenging yourself is something that translates into, honestly, any game, not just these gacha games that you play. Like, I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West right now, and Horizon Zero Dawn. And I challenged myself to complete as many of the achievements as I possibly could because I was enjoying the game and it became a fun challenge. I didn't actually succeed in it because one of the challenges I just decided was there is more effort, work, and overall commitment to it than I am really comfortable doing with what I want. And that's fine. But I gave it a shot. I had a lot of fun. And you know what? If I enjoyed myself for 30 hours worth of gameplay, that was, kind of awesome. Now, these games, we're playing, I say 30 hours of gameplay, Raid wants you to play 30 hours a week. So it's just...
a day if possible.
So, obviously you're playing, some of these games you're playing a little bit more, but that's, again, another reason to challenge yourself occasionally and find something that you enjoy in these games. Yes, it's fun pulling champions. Yes, it's fun building champions. But you know what? Sometimes solving a new dungeon is kind of cool, or finding a new way to beat an old boss can be pretty cool. We've got Faction Wars Hard. Some people are really loving that. And you know what? If you're not loving it, don't push yourself too hard in it either. Find things that are fun to do and do things and have fun playing Raid Shadow Legends or whatever game you're playing. So Oddwood, thanks for coming on. Definitely give my love to Susie and to Kid. And, it's definitely been fun. They'll check you guys out. You also stream on Twitch and sometimes on YouTube, I believe, as well. So I'll have links to all that stuff down there as well. And, definitely been fun. Anything else for the folks that, watching?
No, just thank you very much for having me on. I always love it because, you know what? I love people that turn from community members into streamers into content creators, and I can do the same thing that Hell Hades did for me, right? So like, not like I'm the big, and I'm not nowhere near Hell Hades, don't get me wrong, but it's like I always like to, you know, give back. I always like to interact with people and hear about, you know, how they got. Cause like I've seen your journey. Obviously, it's impossible to track every single person, but I've seen your growth and looking good, and really happy for you. And I'm glad I could join you on this.
Yeah, and I said it's been fun. You know, it was fun. I got a chance to do collab with Hell Hades with the free-to-play challenge, which was actually amazing. I've done a couple with Ash, actually, and of course it helps that I'm actually in Ash's clan with my main. So I've been talking with him for years as well, but he's a great dude, you know, and a lot of these content creators we talk about that I've talked about that I've done collabs with, they're big content creators, and the fact that this content creator community is such a great community, you know, the gacha space tends to be fairly nice, but it's kind of hard to argue that Raid is not one of the best gaming communities in gaming, honestly. It really is. Just everybody here is so great. The content creators, there's not a lot of drama between the content creators. There's a lot of love, and everyone's helping everyone else out in the game, which is awesome. So all right, we definitely appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go over to his stuff and hit that like and subscribe button on all his stuff as well. We both appreciate it. Much love, everyone, and until the next video, that's Odd One over there. I am Bront CatHerder.